Welcome to The Polished Crown, the podcast where women come to feel empowered, inspired, and celebrated. This is your space to redefine what it means to wear your crown with confidence, grace, and resilience. From navigating careers and relationships to embracing our unique journeys, Polished Crown is here to remind every woman that her story matters and her potential is limitless. Let's reign together and celebrate the queen within us all. Your crown is already yours, ladies. Let's make it shine. Hello, good morning. This is Teresa.
Hello, good morning, and this is Sabrina. Welcome to the Polished Crown podcast.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. We are back. So thank you all for joining us again, and we did take a little bit of a grace period. We had some life things going on, some selling of houses, some starting of new businesses. So
growing of businesses.
And families. So thank you all for giving us grace on not coming out every single month with something. But you know what? That is the entire purpose of the Biz Bestie group, is to give everyone grace. And we're all trying. We're all trying to make friends. We're all trying to grow businesses. We're all trying to just do life, you know. So thank you for the grace period. And we are back, and we are very excited for our guest speaker today.
It's the perfect guest today based on what we just said, too,
honestly,
right?
Yes.
Is that not like...
And that's how things flow.
Absolutely. Yes. Giving grace, being human, and accepting life for what it brings to you.
Right. Exactly.
So with that, let us introduce our friend, Casey.
Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Thank you for spending your morning with us. I know you're very busy.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure and honor. I'm really grateful to be here today.
Yes, thank you so much. I can't think of when last time I met Casey. I was just trying to sit here and think. It's been a couple years ago, right? Yeah. So I used to spray tan her a few times.
Absolutely.
And but it's been an absolute pleasure for you being my friend, number one, and getting to know you.
Right back at you.
And your business. And I just watched you flourish into so much. And it's just been really a pleasure for me. So thank you for coming today. And I think it's the absolutely perfect person.
Perfect person. Yes. Thank you very much for being our guest and our friend first.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies. I'm blessed to have you both in my life. And we're blessed to have you both in this community as well, and uplifting other women and yourselves and really embodying that. So thank you for everything that you ladies do as well.
Well, thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Our community couldn't, I guess, function maybe, some of us think, without people like you in our community.
Exactly.
So please share with us how you are so important to our community and what you do.
Absolutely. So I am a licensed mental health counselor. So I provide individual, couples, and group counseling to anyone ages 13 and older. So I predominantly work a lot with adult women, adult males as well. But I work with people that are really trying to come home to themselves. I treat a lot of trauma, ADHD, depression, anxiety, a lot of different life situations that people are going through. So I feel really blessed, and it's almost like I've lived many lives, because I get to sit with people from many walks of life, different backgrounds, different lived experiences. So I get to witness and to hold space for all of those different experiences. So I feel really blessed to do what I do. I love being a therapist. It's really intense work. It's tough work. Sometimes it's a very thankless job, but I feel very aligned with what I'm doing and very called to my profession.
And I can imagine that. I go to a therapist myself.
Great.
So I understand. I mean, you're just there to help them navigate through all their feelings, where those came from. And I feel like maybe the best reward is when you see them realizing where they came from, instead of saying, well, what did this happen? And when did that happen? And that's probably where this came from. It's probably most important for the individual to realize where those feelings and thoughts came from.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, because I could sit with somebody and, you know, there's a lot of information that I can gather just from sitting with somebody, even just for a few minutes. But if a client came in and they told me their story and I just pointed out all of the things that I automatically see, I wouldn't be a very good therapist, and I wouldn't have very many clients, because the truth will set you free, but first it'll piss you off. And you have to come to it in your own time. And so somebody can point something out to you, but really when you're able to connect those dots and to integrate that information, that's really where the magic happens and the healing happens. So yeah, it's really, I'm a guide. I'm there to walk people through their experiences to make sense of it. I provide a lot of psychoeducation on how our brains work, how emotions work, how relationship dynamics work, because there's so little information that's publicly known about relationships in our brain, one of the most important organs that we have, right?
Exactly.
I
think people have to be receptive to that too, because some people just think they know it, and or they don't want that stigma of I don't want to go see a therapist, I don't need a depression medicine, and I'll have to admit, like way back when, I was probably one of those people. But we all have a story, we all have something where we started from that maybe wasn't our choice, or we all have things that we're doing now that it just everything builds on us and we don't know how to manage those, and that's where you definitely help with that. Or like a director in a movie, like everybody's life is their own movie, right?
Absolutely. Yes, the client is the expert on their own lives, and I'm here to really ask better questions. Better questions get us better answers, better results, lead to expansive thinking. So I'm there to walk alongside people. And you're absolutely right, like there's still so much stigma around mental health and therapy, and there's a lot of unknown, and therapy is such an individual and private experience. It's not something where, you're recording in and people can see how it operates or what it looks like. And even from client to client, it really depends on the person that I'm sitting with and in my approach. I'm very person-centered, humanistic in my approach. So I really have to get to know the client and the way that they think and operate in order to tailor the therapeutic experience to that client.
And I think you, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I think it makes a lot of sense what you were saying about how your brain works, like having someone understand maybe why they felt that way or why they're feeling that way. For a person like me, if I understand something or where it's coming from, I'm better to fix it. Or you go down this spiral of, it's just me, something's wrong with me. So then if someone tells you, maybe you get to the bottom of, oh, this is why. Oh, okay, well then let's work on that versus these 15 things that it could be or why you're doing this. So I love that you do that. You get to the,
it's so critical because oftentimes our suffering comes from feeling so isolated, feeling alone in our experiences. And, I have a phrase in therapy that I say is that we don't fix normal. And I mean that in the sense of normal reactions to abnormal circumstances. And, all of the emotions that we have and that we can feel, we're meant to feel it all, but at what point does it become maladaptive, right?
Yes.
So not getting stuck in those emotions or in those thoughts, that's the important part. But teaching people how to ride the wave, so to speak, how to move through painful experiences. Pain is inevitable in life, and so how do we ride that wave? How do we move through it? But doing it in a way where we can really be clear about ourselves, about the world around us, just being able to navigate all of that, understanding how we operate and how our experiences impact us in the way that we think and view the world, because we all have our own projections and narratives, and two people can experience the exact same thing or the exact same joke and have two completely different reactions. And
Absolutely.
It's based on the story that we tell ourselves, the narratives, the lived experiences, the values that we hold. So really getting a clear understanding of who are you and how do you want to show up in the world? Because we're really good at identifying what we don't want as human beings, but we're really terrible at identifying what we do want. And that's like more than 50% of the equation in my opinion is, I don't want to be like my parents. Okay, that's great. So then what do you want to be like? Because if you had this roadmap that was paved for you and it wasn't a healthy one, you can't just play defense against that because you'll self-fulfill it on the other end of the spectrum. So you have to get clear about, okay, that didn't work for me. So now I need to go figure out what is healthy. What do I want for myself? And how do I build that? And how do I learn the skills to get me to that place?
So that's super enlightening for me, because what you just said, I have always said, I don't want to be like that. So I've always geared away from the things I don't want to be, and thinking that things that I will be will just fall into place.
Right.
And I think everybody has to also remember that as a therapist, you're not just plopped into that position. You're a human being.
Yes.
You have stories yourself. You're sitting there because you have something that you want to share, you want to give. Like, you just enlightened me on that. And I've always thought, that's great. I'll just think, I don't want to be like my parents. I don't want to be like that stepbrother or sister. But you saw it in a different perspective, and because you came from something different. You're not just a therapist. You're Casey. You're an individual. You're a human, and you have a story yourself, and you're willing to share that. So if you're willing to, would you be willing to share with us, like, what maybe brought you into this profession?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the simplest way to explain my story is that I really became interested in healing as a result of growing up very much in survival mode, spending most of my time trying to understand people, figure out relationships, emotions, all of that. Life was a mess for me. I did not have healthy roots. I am a survivor of chronic sexual abuse. I was abused for many years as a child, and by a couple different people, actually. And so, being in a dysfunctional home and constantly wondering how I was going to get my next meal, or if I was going to make it home safely. If the adults in my life were going to protect me, it was a lot. It was a lot. And I struggled. I struggled greatly, especially when I went off to college. That was really at the time where the abuse had come out, and that turned my world upside down, because that was a secret that I was keeping for many years.
And that's heavy.
Yeah.
As a child
Sure.
or a young person,
and
you don't.
not even understanding at the time, at the beginning of the abuse, that it was abuse, and being really confused and conflicted and alone. And, children, they observe a lot, they see a lot, but if they don't always express that. So they come up with their own information, stories, connecting the dots, but they're really left alone in the dark.
Behaviors.
Yes, absolutely. So when that all came out, my world turned completely upside down, and I was just a wreck. Definitely went off the rails. And when I was 19, therapy actually saved my life. And I remember being in session with my long-term therapist at the time, and I thought, at one point I was leaving a session, I thought, wow, like, that was so helpful and powerful. And I thought, how incredibly cool is it that this person's job is to sit here with somebody in their deepest, darkest pain and their shame, and help them walk through it, and recognize that the only thing at the end of this path really is love and acceptance. It's a long path, and it's hard to see that at times, but that's really what I've come to believe through my own journey. So that really, most people in this industry have a reason or a story of how they got into this. And I know in college, for me, especially being really lost and confused and not having the resources or the information available to me, I became really interested in psychology, because it was helping me understand myself and why I was experiencing the things that I was experiencing. And that helped me really reduce a lot of shame. There's still shame that I'm working through from past experiences as I go back and I reconnect with my former selves, but that's ongoing work.
Well, that comes back to you don't fix normal.
No, correct. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And most people come into therapy thinking, oh, I need to be fixed. You do not need to be fixed. You need to be understood, and you need to be supported. It's not
and
about
accepting
fixing
of yourself, right?
Yes.
I mean, I think that's what a lot of what my therapy has been, is about accepting of myself in the things that my behaviors that were rooted and where they came from and why I do what I do now.
Yes.
but you just, I don't know, like the whole enlightenment of that is like the best part of therapy.
Absolutely. And it's not just a gift to yourself, it's a gift to everyone else too, because the more that we are connected and rooted in our authentic self, the more that we can shine our light to other people and spread that love and that energy and have a positive impact. And, you know, we don't even realize half the time just how much our behaviors and our actions impact people and have a ripple effect, you know, in ways that we'll never even be able to see. So when we show up as our best selves, that's the benefit of everybody, not just ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So I you know, a very tumultuous childhood, young adulthood, but therapy really started to help me unpack things and to explore and to really understand myself. And, you know, so once I graduated, with my undergrad, I went off to Stetson and pursued my double master's in clinical mental health counseling and marriage, couples, and family therapy. So,
which you recently graduated from.
Yes, in 2021. Yes, and then I recently just got my license. So back in January, I completed that, and it was a decade-long journey. I definitely took some detours and did not do things in the traditional way, but I've come to learn that's really a part of who I am. I don't typically do things fast or, you know, the right way the first time.
Me too.
Yes. Yeah. I take the scenic route. Yes. What a concept.
I mean, but like, we're not fixing normal, but we are normal. Like people, you know, give grace, like Sabrina said before.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Yeah. It just, talk about a sweet victory. You know, like I said, it was 10 years in the making. And there were many times on that journey where I thought, what the hell am I doing? Like, did I make a terrible life choice? Am I going to be able to pay my bills? Is this going to be worth it? You know, just so many questions and times of doubt. But I am so grateful that I stuck to the path and I trusted the process, because now that I'm here and I've just worked so hard for that license, I have so much pride in the fact that I was able to accomplish that goal.
As you should.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you have a lot of clients out there too that are grateful that you stuck to that. You know,
I'm so grateful for my clients. You know, they'll teach me more than I could ever teach them, and it is truly an honor to sit with people and to hear their experiences and their pain and their joys and their victories, all of it, you know. And my clients are fantastic. And, you know, 90% of therapeutic success really doesn't come from the theory I operate under or the interventions I use with clients in session, but really it comes from that belly button to belly button connection. Okay. And so if that rapport isn't there, if that connection isn't there, then we're probably not going to make a whole lot of progress. You know, so one size does not fit all, but I really, again, why me doing the work on myself and really coming home to myself, getting clear about who I am and what I want, has really helped me attract the best clients to be working with and to really connect with. So I feel really grateful to cross paths with the people that I do and to support them in their times of need.
Oh, good. And I know you do a fabulous job of it, because just being friends and sitting around and having conversations with you, we're not like, oh, this is our therapist friend, we got to ask her these questions.
I try not to, actually. A few times I go to dinner, I'm like, I'm not going to ask her anything, say, I don't want her to think I'm like wanting help or.
No, I know. And it's so funny because that's actually something that I've had to work on, because, you know, when you start in grad school, they tell you that you have your personal hat and your therapist hat. And at the beginning of the program, they're two separate hats. But by the time that you graduate, and particularly by the time you get licensed, those hats kind of blend into one. And so, you know, some people, when they find out I'm a therapist, they're like, oh God, you know, you're analyzing me. And I say, I don't work for free. But that's something that I've had to really work on, because I love sharing. I love connecting. I love educating and explaining things to people. So I found myself sort of giving away my services. And I thought, you know, oh, well, if people get, a taste and see how my brain operates and what I can provide, you know, but I realized that ultimately that was doing more of a disservice to myself and to the profession. I don't want to undervalue what I do, because it really is
Absolutely.
critical, and it's not just sitting and listening to somebody. There's so many different things that I have to be mindful of and to monitor, and it's somebody's well-being and safety
Yes.
that's in my hands.
So individualized.
Yes,
right?
correct. But I love talking to people. I love sharing, my information, and I've had to, make sure that I'm not providing unsolicited feedback too, but it's all been a growing experience, a journey of becoming, really finding that balance and figuring out who I am. And, even another part of my career, path and unfolding, I would be remiss if I didn't mention my modeling.
I was going to ask about that. I was
Yeah.
like, you're not just Casey the therapist.
Yes.
You are Casey the hot model.
Beautiful.
So let's
Thank
get into
you.
that.
Yeah. So back in 2021, I got into modeling, and it was really kind of a fluke accident, sort of. I was in a car accident. I was hit by a drunk driver on my way home from addictions class, actually, and I ended up with a few injuries and was getting treatment. And long story short, one of the girls at the physical therapy office, we were talking, and she said, "Oh, you should model, and I've got this agency." And I'd been told that a couple times, and I was like, "No, I'm not thin enough, pretty enough, tall enough, all the things." Like, I don't,
All of it.
I just thought that that's a pipe dream, never would happen. But this young woman really encouraged me, and I ended up throwing my hat in the ring for this contest, this photo contest that this agency was doing, and I ended up winning. And so they ended up flying me around the country for a year. I got to go to all of these photo shoots, and work with
fun.
top photographers, videographers, makeup artists, other models, producers. So it was incredible. And when that happened, that really was like one of those pivotal moments where I thought, oh my gosh, this changes everything. Because this was a dream that, I always had as a kid, but, oh no, you're self-centered, or you're vain, or you're this, or you're that,
Worrying about what other people are thinking about what we
absolutely.
have a passion for.
Absolutely, because it can be very vain and superficial, and I understand why people have those conceived notions about it, but it's so much more than that, and that's really what I've discovered on this path, and getting to have all these experiences. And when that happened, it was something that I thought could never happen, and then it did. And that really was actually the start of my private practice. I said, if I can do that, I can do anything. And it really inspired me to open up my own office and do my own thing and go a completely non-traditional way. Even going into private practice as a registered intern is really unusual, and it's definitely
It's the complete opposite of
Yeah.
vain.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
the complete
Yeah.
opposite of vain.
Yeah. So, so the modeling really just expanded me and added a whole nother layer of my healing, because healing isn't just cognitive. It's not just mental. It's not just talking about things. It's really integrating and embodying the things that we learn about ourselves and how our brains work. And modeling was a very physical way for me to embody that. And, it's created a passion to help people who want to get into that industry learn how to do it with self-respect and integrity, because as a therapist, that was another big part of this journey that I'm even still navigating. But I spent a lot of years trying to figure out, especially up front, about how do I balance my identity as a therapist and a model, because I was told, oh, you can't do both. You can't have a public social media following. Your clients will look you up online and find you, and that will, impact the therapeutic relationship, which that is true. It would impact the therapeutic relationship, which is why I have a social media clause. And I explain this to clients, like, you're not going to look me up the same way I'm never going to look you up online. Here's my business page. You're more than welcome to follow it. But if you go and you start looking at my page or friend request me, then that's,
Right. You can't do
reasons
those
for termination.
things. Yeah.
Because I want it to be as one directional as possible.
Yes.
But I felt so frustrated by the therapist community telling me that I couldn't do both. And
I remember you telling me that a little bit ago. Now that you say that during a conversation.
I actually lost the full-time job offer that I originally had getting out of graduate school. And I was really disappointed because my supervisor said, as long as you bring integrity to everything you do, you're fine. And that really stuck with me. And it was something that I had to figure out and navigate. But for that reason, they didn't want me a part of the practice. And I remember going into such a deep shame spiral around that. Like, I was on top of the world. I graduated at the top of my class, commencement speaker, intern of the year award, 3.9 GPA. Like, I was ready to take on the world and thought I had a job lined up. And then to find out that because I was pursuing this hobby and passion of mine, that I was no longer considered
a candidate.
Yeah, a candidate. So that really took a hit on my self-esteem, my worth, my identity for quite some time. But it led me to going into private practice and paving and forging my own way, which I wouldn't trade for anything. It's taught me so much, and it's really helped me, ride that line and figure out how can I embody both things, because two seemingly opposite things can be equally true and valid at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yes. And that's a big premise of the way I operate in therapy.
I was going to say, I'm sure clients like that
Yes.
feel like either they're the mom or they're the grandma or they're this, but the individual thing that they want to pursue doesn't align with what is perceived
Right.
for what it should be. Like, those two things can't exist in the same world. I would imagine those are probably great people to come to you.
Well, absolutely, because in the same way that I was, struggling with that, if you look at it on the surface level, it can feel like, well, I can't do this because of X. And so we can get stuck on the logistical and the physicality of how do we make this happen. But if we can start to dig of like, well, if you wanted to do this, but you think that you can't, what is that? By doing that thing, what need is it meeting? What are you actually trying to accomplish? And if we can go a layer deeper and figure that out, the how might change, but the what doesn't have to, So really getting to know like what's underneath this desire to, be a model or to change jobs or whatever it is. If you can go that layer deeper, sometimes you'll find out that it doesn't actually have to play out that way, or maybe there's another way to get that need met.
Yeah, I like
There's always
that.
so many challenges in life, isn't there? Like, I always
Right.
tell my daughters, like, I'd kind of be honest. I'm like, nothing's really going to be easy. I'm just
No.
going to let you know.
No.
At 47 years old, I'm still a lot to learn. But
Yeah.
I'm like, anything worth having is going to be a challenge,
Yes.
and you're going to have to work for it. And you're going to have days that you just want to be like, nope, I'm just going to not do that. I'm going to go get a simple job, and then that'll be fine, or whatever the case may be. But life is it's hard.
Yes.
There are hard.
It is
yes.
inevitably hard,
But-
and we get better at navigating
Yep.
it, or that's the hope, And with the right tools and support and information, that is so much easier to accomplish for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
Definitely.
But so grateful, it's definitely been quite the journey for me, and I'm really excited to be where I'm at right now in my career, and really about to expand my business and scale, and doing workshops, and I'm currently working on making workbooks and support material and resource libraries for clients and for non-clients, because one of my main missions out of all of this is making therapy or therapeutic activities more accessible to people, because what you had mentioned earlier, Teresa, there's still so much stigma and confusion around what therapy is, and people think that if I go, that there's something wrong with me. But I believe everybody deserves a third-party, unbiased sounding board, and that's what I am.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody.
I'm not
As long
here
as
to
they're
tell
willing
you
to
what
accept
to
it.
do. Like, that's way above my pay grade. It's your life, your world. I'm just living in it. But I'll help you go down the path to figure out how do you make the decision that's best for you. I have another phrase. One of my clients calls me Confucius Casey, because I have all these isms, these phrases. But I tell my clients, we don't want to focus on making the right decision. We want to focus on making the decision right. And so, because we can get so caught up of what
love
if,
that.
or what do I do
Yes.
if I choose the wrong thing, that you will drive yourself crazy and you'll get stuck and you'll never make a decision, which indecision is still a decision.
still a
you know?
decision,
So
And you might choose the wrong thing,
Yes.
but that's okay.
correct. So coming back, so my whole goal is to teach people how to connect with themselves, to build that trust so that they can say, you know what, I don't know how this is going to play out, but I trust that I'm going to figure it out because I know that I have the tools and the skills and the wherewithal to navigate this.
Yes.
You know, so
Brilliant.
yeah, I really want to spread the awareness, spread education, make therapy more accessible, you know, because there's so much misinformation and there's a lot of pop psychology and, you know, it's the pendulum swinging. We go from, oh, hush, hush, we don't talk about it, to now
Exactly.
it's, oh, everybody is a narcissist and trauma bonded and people are misusing information. So yeah, it's, you know,
Like everything has to have a title.
yeah, and it's over pathologized. And I think that's also something too, which really makes me a humanistic therapist, is that, again, I teach people that, like, you're not crazy. You're not wrong for feeling this way. This is why this is happening, you know, but we don't have to pathologize everything. And yes, you know, having a label can be helpful. And I know I didn't have certain labels for myself and my neurodivergence growing up that really would have made a difference, because I was reading this roadmap over here trying to follow along with everyone else. And I really needed a completely different roadmap in order to figure out how I operated and how I worked. And so, yeah, teaching people how to really build that and advocate for themselves and trust themselves so that they can navigate whatever comes their way, and know that, yeah, you're having normal reactions to abnormal circumstances. You're not broken. You just need support and to be understood.
Well, when they need support, where can they find you?
Yes, absolutely. So you can find me at my website, which is www.kcwilliams.live, Live. You can also find me on Instagram at Cognitive Casey, and that's Casey, Casey. And yeah, my office is located actually just down the road from here in downtown Daytona Beach in the Warren Harding building off of Orange and Beach Street. So yeah, right in the heart of downtown Daytona, across from the Esplanade and all the shops. And I'm so blessed to work where I do. And I also work with a lot of other wellness professionals in my office suite. So yeah, so our little girl gang, we have the best time. Yeah, it's definitely a female empowered space. So yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any modeling things coming up, jobs? Or?
Ooh, yeah. You know, I was kind of bummed because I was just about to do a shoot with a photographer friend of mine. He and I have worked together. Actually, you introduced us. Yes, when we did the shoot at the Fountain Plaza.
Yes.
David.
David, yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we were supposed to get together when he was in town, but the spring was crazy, so it didn't work out. But what's delayed is not denied. So when he comes back to Florida, we're going to plan it. But I recently found an old photo, like a whole bunch of photos from my family history. I mean, photos of the day I was born, of my great-grandmother was born, my grandmother growing up. So I found a treasure trove of family history. Yeah. And I found these photos of my grandma who modeled. And there's this just stunning photo of her looking like Marilyn Monroe on this rock at Washington Park or Washington Oaks. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. And I'm going to recreate it.
I was going to say that.
Yes.
Like, I cannot wait to see that recreated, because I did see a runway show that you did a while back where you did like 50s styles. And
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And I don't know why I'm just drawn to that, because I think it shows the femininity of us. And that's, I just like embracing and support and some celebrating, you know, women's femininity. And that's what I found with that. You are so perfect for that.
Oh, you guys are too sweet.
Oh my gosh.
Too sweet.
I can't wait. So when are you doing that?
Yeah. You know, it'll depend on when he comes back, but I know that for me, especially in the summer, like creative projects, that's definitely my time to shine. You know, that's kind of my season for creating, so to speak. So I'm really looking forward to more opportunities to create this summer, and yeah, I'm brainstorming some things, but yeah,
Love
there's a
that.
season for
Fun.
everything, you know. So
Absolutely. Yes.
yeah, yeah, but I'm so excited. I'm so blessed, and yeah, really grateful to see what else 2026 has in store.
Absolutely. We are so grateful for you
Yes, we
sharing
are.
both
Thank you so
sides
much.
of your
Thank you so
journeys.
much. Thanks for giving me the space, you know, because yeah, it's hard, you know, being a therapist and balancing self-disclosure and what do I share and not share, you know, it's a lot. It's a line to walk. That's really, you know, a tightrope sometimes. So, yeah, I feel grateful to get to be a bit more vulnerable and share more about me and how I got here. So thank you, ladies, for giving me the space to do so.
Thank you so
Thank
very
you.
much.
You're more than welcome. And hopefully your testimony will help someone else.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's
Listen, healing is possible.
Right.
It really is. And I mean, I should not be here today. I really shouldn't. Things could have turned out a lot different for me. And I have seen people turn their lives completely around. I get chills just now thinking about it. I have seen some of the most resilient, determined people, but also deeply wounded people who were able to move through the fire, and instead of becoming consumed by it, were alchemized by it.
Yes.
And that's how I see my story. That's how I see, you know, my hope for society and for the people that I come in contact with is, yeah, come home to yourselves and rise through it and turn that pain into purpose.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for not giving up.
Yeah.
Yes.
For
Thank
yourself,
you.
number
Thank
one,
you.
Thank
but for
you.
also others.
Yeah.
So
And I've had so many people, including you ladies, to help me through that. You know, I do not take any help that's been provided to me lightly or for granted. And people that, you know, I may never speak to again or haven't been in contact in a while, like, I still am just so deeply moved by the support that strangers, friends, colleagues, clients, family have provided me. It's
And
been,
they might not even know, right?
Yeah.
Whatever interactions
like I said,
we
that
have.
ripple effect.
Yeah.
You don't always know how your experience, your energy impacts somebody and can leave an imprint on their heart.
right.
In any age.
Yes.
Don't ever think that because you're whatever age you are, in your 80s, your 70s, your 60s, your 40s. I didn't even start counseling until I was in my
Yep.
40s.
It does not matter. That is a lie that we are sold, that, oh, it's too late. And, you know, no, it really is never too late to do something different and to take a different path. And that's the kindest and bravest thing that you can do for yourself, is to return that lie and say, you know what? No, it's not too late. And today I'm going to do something different.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amen to that.
Amen. Thank you, Casey, so much for being with us. We
you again.
appreciate you as our friend
Thank
and
you,
as a
ladies.
pillar of the community for people to come to, and maybe now more so anybody that's listening can understand
Absolutely.
that there's a connection.
Yeah, I'm here to help, really, truly. And if it's not me, I'm here to guide you in the right direction as well.